Hey guys, Joe here from JCS-Charting. It's Sunday the 24th of November. We have a quick look at the DAX, and if time permits, I also show you the US markets. Gold, silver, and a couple of stocks, probably in a different video. But let's start off with the DAX. This is here our H1 thread of my Discord. This post here is from the 19th, 2 p.m., which is 3 p.m. German time. The purple sequence finished. That is the 161% here at 18,816, and that was also a very precise turning point. The blue zone better holds. That is this one here. I gave that to my members way in advance, and then we are on the time bin for a sub-cycle low. So it is a strong buy to me. My members know whenever I come up with a sub-cycle low, usually the result is a 2 up to 300 points as a minimum for a rally. And yeah, that occurred. I was buying actually into that entire sell-off quite a lot. We had a triple position at the bottom, we had a double position here, and a few other ones which I got rid of at break even once we started that rally. This is a Discord here. You see how many updates we have. Here I came up with a magnet level, and I think there's no one really out there who gives you on that regular basis that many updates during the week and during the day, of course. And we came up with that flag channel here, by the way, and then we had another strong sell-off. I was actually selling a few positions right here, and we went for a rebuy. Most members of my blog, they got a bit scared of that sell, but I said, guys, I'm buying here. I'm doing rebuys again. And it worked out, as you can see. We had a new sequence here, that blue one, which triggered at 19,240, by the way, with that candle here. We had that H1 close above, so we got an in target of 19,300 to 19,335, and this was here just a nasty pullback and a nice opportunity to buy. Yeah, and here's our H4 thread. As you can see, I mark these suggested sub-cycle lows, so my members are getting ready to buy these quite intense sell-offs we had at DAX lately in the last couple of weeks. We don't catch all of them. For example, the last one we couldn't really catch because the time band shifted. This is here shown in blue and red. But we got this one here very nicely on the H4 thread. By the way, this is a JFD indication. There is a huge W shape bottom now at DAX, which could be a solid bottom, and this looks like here a giant bull flag, if you ask me. And we also have a look at the M5 thread. So this is a quite small time frame. Every morning I give my members the COH, which is a cash opening hour. And we use these expansions for possible turnarounds. Here I was posting another little smaller Wilbur wave wedge. I was a bit late here. I was posting that. But here's an update of the COH. Here's an update of that wedge. And here we actually were hitting that target line on Friday. So this one here worked out nicely. By the way, you were seeing this one here only on the cash price levels. You won't see it at any other indication. So that's why you have all these gaps in between. And what you see here is an update from the 10th of November. I was discussing the smart money flow of the DAX. This data is provided by my partner wallstreetkorea.com. So you can sign up there to get that data live. And I show that at the Discord on a regular basis as well. And my theory was that we run into a divergence with new all-time highs, and smart money is not participating as strong in that next rally. If you want to know more about that smart money, you can sign up at JCS-Charting.com if you want to know more about what smart money is doing lately. And here you have my DAX course index, a daily chart. I keep showing that because it is very important. I know most people just simply don't want to understand what it is. It is the index without the dividends, which is not fake. I marked here that black dashed line. That is a descending Broadway wedge. It has much higher targets, and as you can see, we made an all-time high in March, in May, and September. So it was a triple top. We pulled back, we broke through, and then since October we are retesting this all-time high zone. And I kept saying spikes are allowed to go through there, but not a daily close. And this is what happened so far. And just considering these targets here from Friday's closing prices, we should run another 7% up here to reach these targets of the descending broadening wedge, and almost 9% for the 100% move. And by the way, that blue Willow Wave wedge here, you saw that at the performance index as well, but it never hit that target line. So we're actually finishing that as well. And we switch into the US markets. What you see here is a volatility index of the S&P 500, known as a VIX. By the way, we have a similar outlook at the VDAX. A cycle low is suggested into the beginning of December. We have two cycle patterns there, a quarterly one and a monthly one. And this one here suggests a low, and this usually corresponds with a high at the index. So I assume another rally at the US markets for the next week or two before we run into a cycle top, a primary cycle top. And I show you that in my next chart. Here you see a daily chart of the S&P 500. I marked the suggested cycle lows, which worked out basically almost on the dot. This one here was a bit tricky because we had a pre-market low below this low here from the previous week on Tuesday. The cash market didn't undershoot, so that was here the new cycle start. And then we had a deep diver again on Wednesday, and then Thursday and Friday the known rally. All-time high is right here. The next cycle low should run into the next month, probably end of December or the beginning of December, and that should be the finish of the next primary cycle. We switched the time frame into the weekly, so you see what's happening in the primary cycle. The primary cycle started here on August 5th. And that was the first major cycle, which topped out in week 3. It bottomed in week 4. Then we rallied another 6 weeks into week 10. We found the bottom in week 13. And then this is the last major cycle in the primary cycle. I assume if we continue in that pattern, topping in week 17 to 18, which matches the beginning of December, if we are right. The best case would be if this divergence keeps building up here on the weekly RSI, so that we probably hit one of these two trend lines with a new all-time high. The most extreme is 64.11. That is the last weekly target of mine, according to these sequences shown in green. I was showing that already in my last video. This is the Dow theory. We compare the industrials of the Dow Jones with the transportations. And I also mentioned it that theory broke, which means both indexes actually turned bullish. We made new all-time highs here on the 11th. Then both pulled back to higher lows, and then both started rallying again. The best case, if I'm right, with a top at the beginning of December, we are looking for, let's say, the Dow Jones makes new all-time high, something like that, and we have a divergent that was making higher highs, and the transportation, either they don't get over the latest all-time high right here. And in case they get above, we are looking for a failure to the second all-time high. If there's a secondary high at the transportation, that would be our sell signal considering that theory. And we switch also here into the weekly chart. You see a large broadening top pattern here shown in blue. This here, by the way, was a sell-off in 2020. Then we were running higher in that large rising wedge. We were hitting the min target of that wedge before running higher again. We hit already that first target of the broadening top. The 100% target is right here at 44,747, and there's also my last most extreme target at 46,966. This corresponds to the extreme target of the S&P I mentioned at 6411. But that would mean that cycle is going to extend over the beginning of December. So that would mean we get a very, very strong Santa rally, but I believe we get one very early and it fails also quite early. That is just my prediction, what I assume. And a quick look at the Nasdaq 100. This is also a daily cash chart here. You see these cycles which worked out quite nice. We had a new cycle start here on the 15th. We made a new low also on the 19th, but not at the cash market. So it's pretty much the same as S&P 500. And what we noticed already last week is that the Nasdaq was the weakest. So tech is actually lagging behind. Either they got a lot of room to catch up, or we see a divergence that the industrials, the blue chips, keep rallying like crazy and the tech doesn't participate in that rally and it fails here at that all-time highs for secondary high. If they break through there, 21,985 is on my list next. Yeah, this is gold here on the daily basis. We were striking the all-time high at 27.87. That was the first min target before we went into that 3 weeks correction. I was assuming a low in the second half of November. Even I marked here that area, even on the time frame, considering this cycle here on the right. And then it started rallying. I was buying silver, not gold, because it's usually a slight divergence. And silver hasn't really caught up to that gold rally we are in right now. The prices, they vary. That is the second min target, 28.30, and the last target here is 29.23 on the daily. Okay, this is silver on the daily basis. In blue here, you see that descending broadening wedge with these targets here for the first target and the 100% move. We were hitting already the all min targets of that green zone. And then we sold off and we were waiting for that because timing matched our green buying zone. I was getting in here somewhere at 30 exactly, but the rally isn't as strong as gold yet. So I assume that this rally got some catching up to do. Here we go, Tesla. I was showing this chart in one of my videos already. It's a weekly chart here and read that descending broadening wedge, which hit already the first min target. There's also that inverted shoulder pattern, which still got higher targets at 367 at the 100% move just above 400. Note that that green sequence is on, and there's also a trigger here at 352, which didn't trigger because that weekly close was right at it or just below it. This is Intel. On the weekly basis, we have here in blue that bullish Wilbur wave wedge, and we were striking that cycle low quite precise here, and then this is our prediction. I'm pretty sure we're gonna hit at some point the $28.46, and I assume a little pullback into the next cycle low into January, and then probably the next rally to hit that target line at some point. Starbucks is next here, also a bullish Wolver wave wedge here shown in blue, the target line. Got much higher prices. We were buying here at that cycle low, which worked out almost perfectly at, I think I got in at $73. And we did another retest, so we got a double bottom here, or you even got a V-shape, W-shaped bottom. And we were hanging at that upper trend line here for a couple of weeks. And last week we were definitely breaking out. 105.27 is the next trigger for that sequence, and that could be one move to hit that target line very soon. Here we got Merck & Co. I was buying that actually recently, just below that red run, 161%. Even my projection were quite early, considering the timing of that cycle, but we're very close making here a cycle low in my point of view. And the first target is that green rising target line that is around 120. And I will come up with another sequence for my members very soon. Another weekly chart of LAC, Lithium Americas Corporation. We were buying here somewhere at that 230 level, or I did at least, near that cycle low. We were doubling already during that spike here, and now it's hanging at that trend line of that bullish Wilbur wave wedge. That idea is supported by that large RSI divergence, which worked out perfectly at these lows. And especially stocks like that, this move here to that target line is ridiculous still at around the $10 mark. Of course, it's risky. They can drop easily as well. But I assume we're going to hit that target line at some point for a long-term investment. Just give it a bit of time. This is Boeing on the weekly basis. Timing is telling us this low should be bought. If we run all the way up here to 208, 2010, 209, 210 in the next couple of weeks, there has to be definitely a miracle with the Dreamliner or the 777X at Boeing in order that this works out. However, I gave my member the 140 level that should have been, or that might have been, a good buy. Last week we saw already a reversal. We were setting the lowest the previous week at $137. Yeah, this is PayPal. We actually entered here at that cycle low right here around the $60 mark, and we got already over 50%, I believe, in that peak 45%. Since my call I made in summer, and there's also even a bigger Wilbur wave wedge right here in blue. We finished already that green sequence, and the target line here runs, that's a daily chart by the way, runs at 91 next week, and there's also the other one coming which isn't as deep, around the $100 mark. They probably match right here sometime in February at the $100 mark. Last but not least, Apple. Last time I was showing that here, that smaller ascending triangle. This is a daily chart, by the way. We had a couple of fake moves to the upside. We ended up in a double top at the all-time high, and then we broke down to hit the first target of that pattern. That low occurred right in the middle of our suggested cycle low. So it is actually, or it was, a buy. And now there's a bigger ascending triangle in the making. There's the last touch missing up here to be triggered. If it triggers, we have a first target of 263.62 to the upside. If it wants to break out, these triangles are able to break in both sides. And the next cycle low is due at the end of January. There might be a fake out to the upside first one to the downside before actually doing the real move. Note that there's a magnet at $254.88 at Apple as well. Yeah, that's about it. Plenty of stocks this time, was a bit longer than usual. And if you want more updates on a regular basis, you're welcome to join at JCS-Charting.com to join our group at the Discord. And I showed you that there are plenty of updates during the week. And for my members, I see you tomorrow, and I wish you a nice remaining Sunday evening. Bye-bye.